see. Cause there's only shit that you can see. Life serves you like it to be broken. I've been never met in this life. Where do I begin? I'm dreams that we could never live cause we die. Still to our mistakes. So what if this isn't everything we wanted? You'll still see the sun light up the fucking sky. And we can drink tonight until we're so fucking useless. We save ourselves from ever watching life pass by. We're slowly seem to take all we haven't tried. Everything we love we must never forget why. Give me the chance.
So we just went on tour from Melbourne to Singapore, Malaysia, all over Indonesia, Banda Aceh, Bogor, Bandung, Jogja, Japan, all the way back to Perth, our hometown, to play 2 shows. Spent a month doing some intense travel, playing some crazy shows.
So me and Kyle and Mould thought we'd have a couple of party nights before the tour kicked off in Singapore. May have had a couple of beers and a couple of duty-free vodkas that Kyle brought. I woke up in the morning, no idea how I got there, which is unusual for me. The hostel manager was shaking me. He woke me up and he said, "Mate, you got to go down to the police station. Your friends have been locked up." Skated down to Singapore's 14-story police headquarters, waited in the lobby, went through the security checks. I say, "I'm here for the 2 eyeballs," and he just shakes his head, he's grinning at me. Takes me down to the cells. The boys come out looking pretty sorry for themselves, having spent 10 hours handcuffed to a wall in the Singapore jail with a cup of tea and a bit of damper for company. I think they said the first 4 or 5 hours were very entertaining, but after that they got a bit old. So yeah, that certainly set the tone for the rest of the tour. That was a pretty good start. We're lucky to have made it any further, to be honest.
I wonder if this life is all we wanted it to be. Since we're so fucked up from the ones we...
The first show in the run of the Indonesian shows, we landed in Banda Aceh. Drove about 6 hours to get to the first show.
Yeah, it was a 6-hour drive. I was a fucking bitch.
Played the show, hung around for about half an hour, met up with everyone, and drove back.
We almost died in a car crash on the way home. This old mate didn't know how to handle the van, I think, and he ended up drifting around a blind corner about 80.
He was all over the road, the whole drive home. He was...
Me and Chris and Clint in the back just looking at each other, shaking our heads going, "Oh my god."
So eventually we got there, slept in the promoter's driveway for about 2 hours, gave us an awesome feed, and we were back at the airport.
She said I don't believe in the many, but as a reason all these personal demons just keep rubbing in my brain.
Stayed at a nice hotel, went to the pool, had a few beers, went down to the show. The power went out twice at the show. It was in this like bamboo hut thing.
They kicked off the show with a dance routine with some local dancing girls, all under the age of about 10.
With makeup and shit on and like short skirts and all these little Indo hardcore kids are just loving it. And we were kind of made to stand there and watch. It was very weird. So that was kicked off the show, and then there was about 15 bands before us, so we had a couple of beers and talk shit with some of the kids.
And we got reintroduced to a local drink in the area known as Dew,
which was the bootleg Indo liquor. That was very interesting. A mixture of paint, stripper and piss is probably the best description I can come up with it for.
We were in Bogor and we were driving to Bandung, and There was a car that could fit 7 people.
We had all our gear, the driver who didn't speak English, the promoter, one of his friends, they all wanted to come along, they wanted to sit on our laps for the 5-hour journey.
But we were going to catch a bus. Buses aren't that bad. You're told we're going to get this private van, which is going to be good. It's going to be comfortable, listen to music. We're all for it, 100%.
There was just no room. All the boys had filled up the van.
And they said that they all had to come because one mate was driving.
Another guy's got maps, but he knows where to go, but he doesn't speak English.
And the other guy had the phone number of the guy we had to contact in the next city. And it wasn't possible for all of them to be the one person.
No one was really keen because we haven't really slept too much. And it's going to be a long drive. So someone had to be really upfront and just say that no, it wasn't happening. And I just sat in the back and I just fucking laughed at
But what
that whole conversation.
We put the address in the driver's phone, gave him the number of who we had to speak to in the other city. So we ended up going with us and the driver, who didn't speak any English whatsoever, and only listened to death metal.
And we called him Bipolar DJ because he kept going from weird Indonesian pop to crazy death metal, like the heaviest thing you've ever heard.
So it was a bit of a long journey.
And I'm still sorry. Everything was taken away from you. Leave your life, leave the satisfaction.
Went to Bandung next. We caught up with our main man, Adi, who the boys knew from the last tour, and he was awesome dude. We had such a sick time. It had been billed as a studio show, but we didn't really realise until we got to the actual venue that it was literally in a studio.
We could fit all our gear, us, maybe 15, 20 people. Everyone else just piled outside, looking through the windows, out in the other room.
Everyone packed in there. Sweat's coming off the walls. Never felt like I was going to pass out more than that show. It was so hot.
Chris had a horrendous amount of gastro from eggs at the Bogor Hotel. He was struggling to stand up and looked like he didn't want to be. It was the last place in the world he wanted to be.
He didn't leave the house for 2 days.
There was hardly any toilets, so it was all a hole in the ground. So the band and myself included had to, be tactical about when we used toilets, certain toilets, when we didn't, when to eat, when to not, when to hold them in.
Chris will get IDS if he goes more than like 4 Ks away from his home, from his comfort zone.
And I had to use a hole in the ground of the train. The train was going, how fast it was.
You don't know balance until you've shit in a hole on a moving train.
And you just see train tracks running down. It's by a hole in the ground. They'd freaking got a chainsaw and, cut a hole into this metal. And I had to use that, which was an experience, very interesting. I'm glad that I did it, but I prefer not to use a hole in the ground again.